to Chicago Sports. This is Chicago Sports Tonight.
Welcome into Chicago Sports Tonight this Friday night. Huge weekend of sports with the Bears and Packers closing things out at 3:25 Sunday afternoon on Fox 32 Chicago. Cassie Carlson is alongside. We are also going to check in on all of college football's conference championship matchups with our guy, Chris the Bear Fallica from Fox Sports. But it's all Bears right now. Cassie joins me for the ChevyDriveChicago.com NFC North preview. Man, I'll tell you what, I've been waiting for this game since September, since the schedule was first rolled out. And you look at the significance of this game. Both teams 1-2 in the NFC. Bears haven't won back-to-back games against the Packers since 2007. They haven't beaten eventual playoff teams in back-to-back games since 2006 on their way to a Super Bowl. They're coming off the Eagles win. They're feeling good. You've been at Halas Hall all week. How big is this one?
I mean, it's a big game, but they're really treating it like the next game on the schedule, which is, I think, what you want to hear from a team, given the fact of where they're standing right now at 9-3, being atop of not only the NFC North, but the entire NFC, and knowing that they can really control their own destiny. And what an exciting time. I remember when the schedule came out and we're like, oh, we're going to get Green Bay twice in a matter of 3 weeks. And then Ben Johnson says we'll be playing our best football in the month of December. I feel like this is a silver platter for Bears fans and for the team to go out there and get that playoff berth.
Yeah, Bears coming off a 5-0 November, 5-0 November. They were perfect in the month of November. Let's bring in Tina Nguyen because she has been at Halas Hall all day today, following the Bears, listening in on the press conferences, going inside the locker room. Good to see you, Tina. Give us an idea of what the feeling is like out there at Halas Hall in Lake Forest. And I know the injury situation continues to improve for this team as well.
Yeah, well, I talked to one player who told me it's nice to be in a game like this, right, where it means so much this Sunday. And speaking of injuries, as you mentioned, Lou, some encouraging news coming out of Halas Hall on Friday. The Bears are expected to get back TJ Edwards and Noah Sewell. Noah Sewell's missed the last 2 weeks dealing with an elbow injury, while TJ Edwards has missed the last few weeks dealing with both a hand and hamstring injury. I believe he had hand surgery about a month ago. But getting a guy like TJ Edwards back, especially when it comes to their run defense, he's such a key leader, right, on that defense, especially when you look at who they're facing. The Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is playing some of his best football right now. Josh Jacobs, I asked TJ, when you look at this Green Bay offense, right, what's the challenge that they really present to you guys? Josh Jacobs is going to be a problem, but for TJ Edwards, especially for someone who is from the Chicago area, he says he's more than excited to be back just in time for the Packers.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something we've heard from a lot of the players, just the confidence they have going into this game. DJ Moore mentioned it yesterday because of where they're standing right now and the belief that they have with each other in the locker room, and that's headed from Ben Johnson. And talking about TJ Edwards, you want to have him back. We talk about this all the time, him being so important to that defense. I still think you have to give a ton of credit for the depth that we've learned this Bears defense has, with guys like DeMarco Jackson and Amen Ogbongbemiga stepping up the last 2 games and really eliminating an entire run game for the opposition as well. So hopefully with TJ Edwards back, that continues, but so important to have him on the field.
Tina, let me ask you about the belief that these players now have in themselves coming off this 5-game win streak as they make their trip now to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, feeling good about themselves, proving their detractors wrong after what happened in Philadelphia, the way they just manhandled the defending Super Bowl champs. Did you get a feeling inside the locker room with head coach Ben Johnson today that, hey, listen, we're going to Green Bay and we're going to win this game?
Yeah, well, Lou, first off, I talked to Tyson Bagent just moments ago, and we talked about the turnaround that this team has experienced under Ben Johnson. 12 games in, I believe they're 6th in scoring offense right now, averaging 26.1 points a game. Explosive plays, the top rushing attack, the offensive line playing super well. But this is a team, right, that really prides themselves on the takeaways. 26 takeaways, and they've been able to do that without some of the top guys in the secondary, missing key linebackers, some defensive linemen as well. But all of this is just a credit to the hard work, the attention to detail, the culture that Ben Johnson has really set here at Halas Hall. And when you ask Ben Johnson about it, he goes back to one game early on in the season that really gave him a sense of belief that's been building inside this locker room. Take a listen.
Kind of thought about it after the Vegas game that, you know, the way that one went at the end, it set it behind closed doors, that win like that could have been the best thing for us, because I think you really felt the belief starting to build then. Just that we're close in a game at the end, and we found a way to win instead of lose. And so, that moniker's kind of stuck with us there the rest of the way, and we've been in these close one-score games and been able to come out on the right side of it for the most part. And so I do think there's a belief that when the game's on the line there and it's close in the fourth quarter, that we can come away with the win. And it's just this pursuit of getting better each and every week, because I think the guys still see that we're capable of a lot more than what we put on tape already. So combination of all that.
Well, I'll never forget being in that locker room after the Vegas win. That's when Josh Blackwell blocked that field goal, and he's the first one who said, we're no longer the same old Bears. And we heard that same message from Kevin Byard, and that seems to have been a theme of the entire season, just because of the way they've been able to pull off the wins in some of these close games. But Ben Johnson also talked today about the word culture, which can get thrown around a lot, and he seems just so dead set on, yes, they're building culture, but it's not so much using that as a lingo word. It's more so just their approach every day, that they're going to be detail-oriented and they're going to be tough. And that's something that we've noticed with this team since training camp. And I almost think the mindset shift of having coaches be honest with you, call you out at times, whether it's in a team meeting or publicly, which he even did this week with the passing game. I think it's holding all these players accountable, and that's showing up on Sundays.
All right, another word that I think the media likes to throw around is disrespect.
Ooh.
And players throw that around as well. And one might look at what Ben Johnson said in his introductory press conference as disrespect that he showed towards Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. And that Johnson said, hey, listen, I look forward to playing LaFleur because I beat him 2 times a year. Hey, that's the fact. He beat him 2 times a year when he was in Detroit. Now he's in Chicago. But the comments still got under the skin of some of those Packers players like Micah Parsons.
I mean, you love it, though. This is the fun part of the rivalry. And Micah Parsons has been a Packer for, what, 14 weeks? And he's already like, I'm gonna buy into this. And you love that, especially him coming from Dallas, which has plenty of rivalries in the NFC East in itself. And I think it's important. And I love what Ben Johnson does. I feel like it kind of showed his team who he is and who he's made of. He's a competitive dude, and he's going to ask that all comes back to him too, and I think he takes that and appreciates that as well. So I found it to be great when he did it in the opening press conference. I feel like they've kind of mellowed out ever since, but I also love that George McCaskey has a meeting with the Bears rookies so that they know this game means so much more than any other game on the schedule.
Tina, let me ask you, because you're at Hallis Hall today, I look at what Johnson did as almost a challenge to his players, that if they respect their head coach, they're going to go out there and cover his butt for what he said at that introductory press conference. Get a feeling out there at Hallis Hall that these guys have heard what Micah Parsons said about disrespect and could care less. They're still going to go out and beat his butt on Sunday?
Yeah, well, when you look at this game on Sunday, right, there's a lot of pressure on both teams here, right, on the players, on the coaching staff. It's a battle for the top spot in the NFC North. The Bears are 9-3, Packers are 8-3-1. The Packers, Jordan Love's playing some of his best football right now. We talked about earlier how dangerous, right, Josh Jacobs is. I did ask one offensive lineman. I said, did you hear the comments that Micah Parsons made about feeling a little bit disrespected by you guys? He said, I didn't, but no matter what, we don't want to make someone like him mad, someone like him who is a game changer, a game record, 12.5 sacks on the season so far. He also told me that one of the toughest things about facing Micah Parsons, right, he's so good at getting off the ball. He's got a dangerous inside move. I believe Declan Doyle called him slippery, right, a very talented player. But I want you guys to listen to what Micah Parsons had to say to Green Bay reporters when he was asked about the Bears here.
Respect is something that's earned, and these people want to come here and they want to meet us in our house, and, you know, we got to eventually go there. That's, you know, if someone comes you along, what would you say? So, you know, it's that type of, it's a respect thing, like, you know, especially losing a couple of games at home and the way we lost them in a fashion. Like, you know, I think we have to come together as a defense to get our respect back.
this matchup on Sunday. You've got a team that's elite at taking the ball away, and then you got the Green Bay Packers, right, who's the #1 team in the NFL with the fewest giveaways. I think this one I'm so curious to watch because I think it's going to come down to the quarterbacks and how these two QBs play under pressure. And by the way, Matt LaFleur, he is 20-4 in the month of December, so this is someone who's going to have his team well prepared, right, to win these kinds of games. But as we've seen with Ben Johnson and what he's done so far with this team, 12 games in, you also know that the Bears will be more than prepared to, especially that Dennis Allen defense.
Yeah, both teams playing its best football right now. Tina, great work out there. We will see you on Sunday. Cassie, I will see you later on in the show when we talk about the Walter Payton Man of the Year for the Bears, and that was DJ Moore. Up next, we're going to join Fox Sports' Chris the Bear Fallica, talk a little college football right after this on CST Daily. Welcome back into Chicago Sports Tonight this Friday night. Luke and Ellis with you. Conference Championship Weekend in college football is here. We have got the biggest game here on Fox 32 this weekend. Tomorrow night, Big Ten Championship, 5:30 here on Fox 32 between Ohio State and Indiana. Let's bring in Big Noon Kickoff co-host, our lead gambling analyst, Chris the Bear Fallica. Hey, man, thanks, Chris, so much for taking the time to join us. And I want to start with that Big Ten title game. The line opened up at Ohio State -6.5. I've been following it. It's down to 4. Chris, in all due respect, some of my best friends are Indiana grads. I know they're watching right now. I know I'm going to make them mad. The Hoosiers are really good, but why is there heavy money coming in for Indiana?
Because I think people like this underdog story, and I think, look, I think you can make a case that to wager on Indiana in this game that they have a chance. It's the biggest game that Indiana will likely ever play, or it's certainly the biggest game that they have played in their history to this point. It's an opportunity to win the Big Ten championship, an opportunity to go 13-0, an opportunity to beat Ohio State and be the #1 team in the country going into the college football playoff. Where on the other side of it, maybe you can have a mindset of Ohio State put all their emotional eggs in the basket of beating Michigan all year long, and they finally did that last week. And now you're in a spot where, okay, we know we're in the college football playoff. We know we're going to get a first-round bye. We have to look forward to defending our national title. And maybe this is just a little bit of an emotional lull for Ohio State here. But, yeah, it was interesting that a couple of weeks back on the look-ahead line, Ohio State was -3.5. I actually bet Ohio State -3.5 then, expecting that runoff to 6, and now there's certainly been a bit of a buyback.
You know, you may have just answered it, but what's at stake for Ohio State in this game?
The interesting thing, while I talk about the emotional lull, Ohio State hasn't won the Big Ten title since 2020 because you had the 3 years of Michigan and you had the Oregon year last year. So I think if you ask Ryan Day and the players on the Ohio State staff, like what like going into the year, like the #1 goal, it beat Michigan, win the national title. But I think it does matter to this group. I think they've got some great leadership with Caleb Downs and Reese and Styles on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think those players will allow them to really overlook this game. It's an opportunity to win a ring, to win a title, and celebrate something great. And they haven't lost, obviously, since the start of the college football playoff last year.
Terrific article on foxsports.com. If you're watching, check it out. Chris has got a great article, came out a couple of days ago, and you referenced Notre Dame's odds to win it all at +1,000. But what really threw me was Miami is +15,000. How is this possible? The Canes beat the Irish. What did Mario Cristobal, he's a friend of mine, I know you had him on your show the other day. What did Mario tell you about the position that the Canes are in right now?
Mario essentially is, hey, I'm a coach. A bunch of coaches in the committee room. I'm a player. The goal is to win the game, and the ultimate eye test took place in late August at Hard Rock Stadium in South Florida, where Miami passed the eye test in beating Notre Dame. And he's like, if we're not counting wins and losses and we're not crediting teams and giving them a nudge up for winning, then what are we really doing here? Then why bother playing? Like, he's like, well, why are we all of a sudden dealing with like hypotheticals in society when you have an actual real result and a real data point to bounce on? And he's right. I think this assumption that Notre Dame is now just better, meaning that if they play again, Miami, they would beat Miami and they'd be favored over Miami. Yeah, they would be favored over Miami, but they were also favored over Miami in week 1 and
Right.
wind up losing the game. The dangerous assumption there is not giving Miami credit potentially for being better now than they were in week 1. They had 8 new defensive starters and a new defensive coordinator in that game. Malachi Toney, who's become one of the best all-around weapons in college football, that was his first college game. Gerard Pringle, their go-to running back now, didn't play it down in that game. So yes, while it's true Notre Dame is better now than they were week 1, Miami is also better now week 1. And I think both belong in the college football playoff. I think they power rate higher and are better teams than, say, Oklahoma or Ole Miss or Alabama. And it's unfortunate that it does appear that we're headed towards a situation where either Miami or Notre Dame, 2 teams that I think are capable of making a national title run, it appears that one of them probably is going to be on the outside looking in.
Is this working? Or are we always going to have controversy when picking for a field of whether it's 12, 64, 68, you name it?
There's always going to be controversy. As the field gets bigger, I think the controversy lessens. I think if you have a field of 16 or 24 or whatever it might be, like, are we really going to really have this passionate of a debate for the 24th team in the field who really has no chance of doing any damage in the field? I think the biggest issue I think that the committee is up against now is that it just seems that the goalposts are kind of moving every week, and they just have this appearance of making it up as they go along. And what are they really looking at? Are they looking at it at a head-to-head or a strength of schedule or a power rating? And no one really has any idea. But I get the concept. I like the concept. I think maybe the committee could use a little bit of a freshening upon its committee makeup, maybe skew a little bit younger, maybe put a power ratings guy in there, a numbers guy, someone who maybe formulates a power rating or a little bit into advanced analytics, and to kind of give that type of analysis as well as all of the ex-coaches and athletic directors that are on the panel.
Bear, if I put you on the spot, which school is going to get jobbed that belongs in the college football playoff?
I think it's going to be Notre Dame. And I say that because I think BYU will lose again to Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. And I think what that will mean is that for the first time, and Hunter Yurachek referred to it about putting Miami in a cluster or whatever. This would be the first time Miami and Notre Dame would really be compared side to side if that happens. And I think just mentioned the coaches in the room. I mentioned Maura Cristobal talking about head-to-head is the ultimate eye test and tiebreaker, the data point. I think at that point, it will be too hard to ignore that Miami did win that game, and I think that's when the flip would take place.
I know you're busy getting ready for the Big Ten Championship. We will be watching right here on Fox 32 Chicago when you and the guys come through with the pregame show before the Big Ten title game between Indiana and Ohio State. Have a great one. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Lou.
All right, Chris the Bear Fallica, man, this guy's all over it. I love watching him on Saturdays. We'll watch him Saturday night before the title game. After the break, we're going to catch up with the Bears' Walter Payton Man of the Year, DJ Moore. Keep it right here on CST Daily. Bear Packers coming up 3:25 on Sunday right here on Fox 32 Sports. Welcome back to Chicago Sports Tonight. Lou Canellis with you. The Bears announced Thursday DJ Moore was the club winner for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Cassie had a chance to talk with DJ after the announcement at Hallis Hall.
The Walter Payton Man of the Year award nominee for the Chicago Bears is DJ Moore. First off, we all saw the video of how you were surprised by your family and the Bears, but what was the feeling knowing that you were the nominee for what they call the most prestigious award in all of football?
I was excited. Got a little emotional just because my family came out of the back room and I was not expecting that. And yeah, just to be nominated behind Walter Payton's name is amazing.
What does the Walter Payton legacy mean to someone, not only just in football in the NFL, but as you play for the Chicago Bears?
It means a lot. Here, it holds a lot of weight, and the person that gets nominated they better carry that weight gracefully and be on point with everything.
The More to Life Foundation, what do you aim to do in the community in the Chicagoland area?
Just get in touch with everybody in the community, different communities, from the south side, west side, up here in the north. Just be everywhere that I can be, and just show my face and just get acclimated with Chicago.
What's the joy that you get seeing these kids? I mean, you're DJ Moore, you're a receiver for the Chicago Bears, and now these kids are getting to see you up close and personal and see you make a difference.
They get to see that I'm a big-ass kid. Well, excuse me.
We already knew that.
Yeah, a big kid, and yeah, the media knew that, but I don't think, like, the kids actually understand, like, how of a kid I am, and then how I take things serious when I'm around them. So, and I'm just here to just give out the best fun and the best energy that I can.
We welcome back Cassie Carlson. You had a chance to chat with DJ Moore. You see him on a regular basis when you're at Hallis Hall covering the Bears. He has fallen to the number 2 or 3 favorite target of Caleb Williams. Rome Odunze, who will not play in this game on Sunday because of a foot problem, has become the main go-to guy from Caleb. 8-year veteran, DJ Moore, has it bothered him?
If you ask DJ Moore about things like this, I feel like he stares you down and he's like, you know me better than that. I'm no diva. And I think that's something that he prides himself on, actually, is that we see a lot of these wide receivers in the league who they start complaining when they don't get the targets they want. And he's never really been like that. Mind you, he's also never really been on a winning team before. So this is new territory for DJ Moore to, one, have his numbers down, not be the top receiver, but also be on a winning team. And that's different in itself, too. And morale in the locker room is obviously better when you're sitting at 9-3. Heading into the month of December. I think for DJ Moore, this week is a perfect example of him to be one of those top targets and to be so detail-oriented on the route concepts and everything, because we know Ben Johnson said he wants to see more from the passing game, and DJ Moore slipped twice in that Philly game. He knows that, and so that's on him to be better so that Caleb can find him more targets. All
right, Rome Odunze will not play in this game on Sunday. He is the number 1 target for Caleb Williams. He has 90 targets so far this season. That's 27 more than any other player on the Bears. I look at it as a positive. Listen, I want Rome Odunze on the football field, but let's look at it in a positive manner. Gives an opportunity to DJ Moore to get back on track. Also, the rookies, Luther Burden III, Colston Loveland, they'll get more involved in the offense.
Yeah, and I think this is, again, a good problem for the Bears, and it's one that we've been talking about all season, where we talk about mouths to feed. How are they going to spread the ball and spread the wealth? And so when you have one removed, other guys are going to step up naturally. And I think we've seen consistent growth from Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. I remember sitting in the press box, and I can't remember if it was a 3rd down catch or what from Loveland. I'm like, gosh, there seems to be one catch a game from Loveland where we're like, how in the world did he make that play? And that's why he was drafted in the top 10, because he's a tight end, but he's built like a wide receiver. And so I think this is another perfect example where this is a good Green Bay defense. They're solid all the way around. Ben Johnson talked about their safeties being 2 of the best that he's ever seen, and maybe that they'll see all year long. To have so many options for Caleb to go to in the passing game could be so key against Green Bay.
Loveland's targets are up. Burden's snaps are up. I expect both to be involved in the offense on Saturday. That is going to do it for this week. Thanks to Cassie, Tina Wynn, she was at Hallis Hall, and Chris the Bear Felica from Fox Sports talking a little college football before the Big Ten Championship here on Fox Saturday, beginning at 5:30. Don't forget, we have you covered for the Bears and Packers Sunday starting at 9:30. Bears Game Day Live. Cassie will be at Lambeau Field. I'll be in studio with Big A, Anthony Herron, and Tina Wynn. Have a great weekend. See ya.